Take a look at the device likely in your pocket right now. The iPhone. It does not have main button, no physical keyboard, no instruction manual in the box. It is a definition of simplicity. But have you ever wondered why? It is just to make it user-friendly? Of course. But there is a deeper reason. The secret behind the radical simplicity isn't found in your computer lab in Silicon Valley. It is found in the 20th century Japanese philosophy. Steve Jobs was a contradiction. He was the CEO of the world's most valuable company. He lived like a monk. He was a billionaire. His house was almost empty, no future, just mattress on the floor. He built the future out of technology, but he grounded his life in ancient Buddhist teachings. In today's video, we are going to decode the spiritual DNA of Steve Jobs over about 20 minutes. We will explore his deep, lifelong friendship with a rebellious Japanese monk, and we will uncover the aesthetic of subtraction hiding within the iPhone. This is not just a story about technology. It is a story about how the lost soul found clarity in the silence. Let's rewind the clock to the 1970s. Before they had tech titan, young Steve Jobs was not a part of the guaranteed success. He was a character loved walking barefoot around the campus, collecting Coke bottles for speed change. He was a seeker, a hippie asking the big question: who am I? Why am I here? In his search for meaning, he stumbled upon the Los Altos Zen Center in California. There he met the man who would become his destiny. He met the monk who would become his destiny. A subtle Zen monk named Kobun Chino Otogawa. Now Kobun wasn't your stereotypical holy man. He spoke broken English, but he didn't give long boring sermons. He drank sake, he ate meat, he got married, he cracked jokes. He was a punk monk, a spiritual rebel who hated rigid rules. For Steve Jobs, who dissipates authority, Kobun was magnetic. Jobs thought, I can't trust this guy. He visited Kobun's homes almost every day, often sitting in his kitchen right into the night. They didn't just talk about Buddhist scripture. They talked about life, about consciousness, about intuition. Kobun taught Jobs a form of meditation called Shikan Tazer. Just sitting, no goals, no speaking, enlightenment, just sitting. For the first time, the chaotic noise in Jobs' head was replaced by silence. The master-student relationship would last for the rest of Jobs' life. As Apple began to succeed, Jobs found himself the term. The Buddhist world was full of the great but royal and noise. To a man seeking spirituality, it felt like a dirty place. One day, pushed to the limit, Jobs went to Kobun with a heavy heart. He said, Kobun, I'm done, I'm tired of this. I want to leave it all behind and go to a Heiji temple in Japan to become a monk. He was ready to shave his head and abandon Silicon Valley. Imagine that, a world without the Macintosh, without the iPhone. But Kobun shook his head. He gave Jobs a piece of the advice that changed history. He said, Steve, Zen is not found on a mountaintop or above the clouds. You must find the truth right where you are. Your work, that's your temple, your company, that is your practice. The advice sealed his fate. Jobs realized that he could treat business itself or Samu. The Zen concept of the spiritual work. He began to view his product not as a machine, but as art, as a craft. He demanded that the circuit board inside the computer be beautiful, even thought no user would ever see them. Why? Because the monk sweeps that garden even when no one is looking. God is in the details. Years later, in 1991, when Jobs married Lauren Powell, the ceremony was led by no other than Kobun. Standing in Yosemite National Park, Kobun stuck a gun, chanted the sutras, and bound their hands together. At every major turning point in Jobs' life, the Zen master was there. So how exactly does Zen philosophy show up in the iPhone? To understand this, you have to look at one of the Jobs' favorite places on the earth, the Ryōan-ji Temple in Kyoto. Jobs loved this famous rock garden. It has no trees, no water, just white sand and 50 stones. By stripping away everything unnecessary, the garden forces the viewer to see the universe within the emptiness. This is the essence of Zen simplicity. Jobs stood before the garden and realized simple is ultimate sophistication. Think about the tech world before the iPhone. Phone has a keyboard with 50 buttons. They were encrypted. They come with 6 menus. The industry believes that more features equal better product. But Jobs went the opposite direction. He has observed with the subtraction. Remove the keyboard, remove the stylus, hide the power button. Every time his engineer said, we would add the feature. Jobs said not. In Zen, there is a concept called mushotoku, no profit, no desire. It means letting go of the attachment to gain more. Jobs created a way nice from the product. The result was about the rough rub of the glass, the iPhones. In a way, it was a digital Zen garden. And then there was his realized own intuition. Jobs famously skipping market research. He said it is not the consumer's jobs to know what they want. He didn't rely on logical data and list. He relied on the intuition. He honed on the meditation cushion. He trusted his gut to see a future that no one else could imagine. But even a visionary cannot escape destiny. Cancer. In 2003, Jobs was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. When faced with a death sentence, the most people panic or fall into despair. The Jobs comforting death was something he had practiced for years through Zen Buddhist teaching Mujo, impermanence, the truth that nothing lasts forever, the future that nothing lasted forever. In his legendary speech on the Stanford in 2005, he shared his perspective.
I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? Death is very likely the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent.
He didn't see death as a taboo. He accepted it as a necessary part of the evolution. Because he embraced the mortuary, he was able to focus his remaining time with terrifying intensity. The iPhone, the iPod, his greatest masterpiece, were created under the shadow and death. And do you remember how he entered the speech?
Stay hungry, stay foolish.
This connected directly to the Zen concept of the Shoshin, beginner's mind. When people become successful, they become conservative. they become full. But Jobs believed you must remain empty. You must remain a fool. Only with an empty mind can you accept new possibilities. That is the Zen way of life. Steve Jobs passed away in 2011 at the age of 56. At his memorial service, every guest was given small brown box. Do you know what was inside? It wasn't an iPad. It wasn't a business book. It was a copy of the autobiography of the yogi, a spiritual book about self-realization. His final message to the world wasn't about technology or design. It was an invitation to look inward. Steve Jobs was not more just a CEO. He was an artist, a seeker who used the canvas of the business of expressing his spiritual philosophy. He left us with more than just a convenient device. Strip away the unnecessary, to lose your intuition. Right in your present moment. There is the technology of Zen hiding in plain sight. Every time you swipe that smooth glass screen, remember the monk who designed it. And maybe ask yourself the question Jobs asked. What can you subtract from your life today to find what really matters? Thank you for watching. If this story changed your perspective on Steve Jobs or Zen, please hit like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comment. Do you have minimalist habit that help you focus? I'll see you in the next one. Bye.